The wealthy father mocked the last nanny just like the others before firing her. But when the twins reacted in a way that exposed the truth about her in front of everyone, his smile vanished, his body stiffened, and the room was left in stunned silence. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. The fresh orange juice is late, Mr. Sterling. Robert Sterling did not look up from his tablet. His voice was smooth and cold, like the marble floor of the breakfast room. Late by how much, Miss Paisley? The new nanny, a woman in a stiff gray suit, shifted her weight. By about 2 minutes, sir. The press was a little slow this morning. The schedule states 10 o'clock. Not 2 minutes past 10, not 1 minute past 10. He finally lifted his head, his blue eyes locking onto hers. Do you understand the purpose of a schedule? It's for routine, sir, Miss Paisley said, her voice getting smaller. It is the foundation, Robert corrected. He placed the tablet on the table without a sound. If the juice is at 10:05, the morning walk is at 10:25, not 10:20. The entire day's foundation cracks. You are cracking my children's foundation, Miss Paisley. At the far end of the long table, 2 small children sat perfectly straight. A girl and a boy, with hair like white gold curls. They wore matching suits of deep green. They did not look at the nanny. They looked at their empty plates. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sterling. It won't happen again, the nanny whispered. You are correct, Robert said. He picked up a small bell and rang it once. A man in a black suit appeared at the door. Carl, please see Miss Paisley out. Provide her with a full day's pay. The nanny's mouth opened, then closed. She looked at the children. They did not look back. With a small gasp, she turned and hurried from the room. Silence returned. Robert picked up his tablet. You may begin your breakfast, Chloe and Leo. The children picked up their spoons. They ate their oatmeal in slow, careful bites. No one spoke. The only sounds were the soft clicks from Robert's tablet and the distant hum of the house. Father? The boy's voice was a tiny thing in the big white room. Yes, Leo. Will a new nanny come today? Of course. One who can tell time. The little girl, Chloe, spoke next. Her eyes were on her bowl. The last one left on Tuesday. The one before left on Monday. That is, many. It has been 7 days, Chloe, and that is 4 nannies. I am looking for the right one, the perfect one for you. Robert took a sip of black coffee. Perfection requires patience. Leo pushed a piece of pear around his plate. What if we don't want a new one? Robert's spoon clinked softly against his cup. That is not your decision to make. Your decision is to eat your fruit. The boy put the piece of pear in his mouth. After breakfast, the children were taken to the library for their morning lessons. They sat at a small table, books open. Their tutor, a quiet man named Mr. Evans, spoke about numbers. Chloe did not listen. She looked out the tall window at the perfect green lawn. She counted the sprinklers as they turned. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leo tapped his fingers under the table. Thumb to index, thumb to middle, thumb to ring. A secret pattern. He was thinking about the nanny's face when she left. It was wet. Was she crying? Grown-ups did not cry. Not here. When lessons were done, it was time for the walk. The new nanny had not arrived yet, so Carl, the head of security, walked with them. They moved in a straight line along the smooth garden path. They were not allowed to run. Running could cause falls. Falls caused dirt, tears, or scrapes. Carl? Leo asked, looking up at the big man. Yes, Master Leo? Do you have a mom? Carl blinked. I did. She's passed on now, sir. What does that mean? Chloe asked. It means she is gone, Miss Chloe. The children were quiet. They knew about being gone. Their father said their mother was gone. She left when they were babies. She did not want them. That is what he said. But sometimes, in the very back of Chloe's mind, there was a feeling like a soft song, a smell like flowers and sunshine. She did not tell anyone. It was a secret feeling. Back inside, the house was being cleaned. A woman with dark hair and a tight bun was polishing the floor of the grand hallway. She wore a navy shirt and yellow gloves. She moved a large buffer machine in slow, even lines. As the children passed with Carl, the woman looked up. For just a second, her eyes met Chloe's, then Leo's. She did not smile, but her eyes were not cold. They were warm and brown, like the honey Leo once saw in a picture book. The look lasted only a moment before she looked back down at her work. Leo stopped walking. "Hello," he said. The cleaning woman's hands paused on the machine. Carl gently touched Leo's shoulder. "Come along, Master Leo. Do not disturb the staff." Leo let himself be led away, but he looked back. The woman was watching him go. That feeling in Chloe's chest, the secret one, fluttered. She looked at her brother and saw her own wonder on his face. That night, after their silent dinner with their father, the children were in their separate bedrooms. The doors were always left open a little. A rule. Chloe slipped out of her bed. She crept to the doorway that connected her room to Leo's. He was already there, waiting. "You saw her," Chloe whispered. It was not a question. Leo nodded, his curls bouncing. "Her eyes. Did you see her eyes?" "Yes." They looked. "No," Leo whispered, struggling for the word. Chloe nodded. She understood. "Do you think she will stay? The new nanny?" Leo's shoulders sank. "Father will find something wrong. He always does." From down the hall, they heard the firm click of their father's office door closing. The sound was final. The house was asleep. Chloe reached out and took her brother's hand. "Maybe," she whispered so quietly it was almost just a breath. "Maybe the cleaning lady will stay instead." They stood there in the dark, holding hands, listening to the perfect, quiet house. For the first time in a very long time, they both felt the same tiny, fragile thing. A little piece of hope. The big house woke up at the same time every day. In the east wing, Chloe was already awake, counting the light squares the sun made on her ceiling. 1, 2, 3, 4. In his room, Leo was tapping his finger pattern on the sheet. Thumb to index, thumb to middle. Downstairs, a soft sound began, a humming sound. It was a gentle tune, floating up through the floor vents. Leo sat up in bed. He knew that sound. He did not know how he knew it. It felt like a dream. After breakfast with their father, which passed in quiet bites, the children had their study time. The humming was still there, moving from room to room below them. Mr. Evans, the tutor, cleared his throat. "Chloe, the answer is?" Chloe had not heard the question. She was listening to the hum. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Later, during their walk, they saw her, the cleaning lady. She was outside, washing the big windows. Her sleeves were rolled up. She moved the squeegee in long, clear strokes, leaving the glass perfect. As they walked past with Carl, the woman turned. She gave a small, quick nod. Not a smile, just a nod of her head. But her eyes were on them. They followed Chloe and Leo all the way down the path. "Carl, what is her name?" Chloe asked. "That is Miss Anna. She started this week. She is very thorough." "Miss Anna," Leo repeated quietly. The next day, they were in the main living room. Their father was in his office on a call. They were allowed to sit and look at a book of art pictures, but not to touch the sculptures. Miss Anna came in to dust. She moved around the room, careful and quiet. She dusted the big piano. She dusted the shelves. She came near their chair. Leo looked up from the book. "Hello, Miss Anna." She paused. She looked at him, then at Chloe. "Hello," she said. Her voice was soft with a gentle sound to it. "That is a beautiful book." "Do you like art?" Chloe asked, her own voice barely above a whisper. "I do. I like the colors," Miss Anna said. She did not stop her work, but she slowed. "The blue in that sky is very nice." "It's called cobalt blue," Chloe said, surprising herself by speaking. "I did not know that. Thank you for telling me." Miss Anna's eyes crinkled at the corners. It was almost a smile. She moved to dust the table next to them. As she reached for a lamp, her apron pocket caught the edge of Leo's book. It tumbled to the floor. "Oh," Miss Anna said, quickly bending down. "I am so sorry." Leo slid off his chair. "It's okay." He bent down to help her pick it up. Their hands touched on the cover of the book. For a moment, both of them froze. Leo looked up into her face, so close to his. He saw the warm brown of her eyes. He saw a small, faded mark on her cheek like a tiny star. He breathed in, the smell of soap, and underneath it something else, something like flowers in the sun. His small mouth fell open. His heart beat very fast. A feeling, huge and old, filled his chest. It was the secret feeling. Miss Anna's eyes filled with a sudden, shiny wetness. She blinked very fast. She took the book from him and placed it back on the table. "Thank you," she said, her voice even softer now. She picked up her dusting cloth and left the room quickly. She did not look back. Leo stood by the chair, his hands still feeling the place where theirs had touched. "Leo?" Chloe whispered. "What's wrong?" "Her smell," he said, his words slow with wonder. "I know her smell, Chloe." That night, Robert Sterling ate dinner with his children. He cut his meat into exact pieces. "A new nanny will arrive tomorrow morning. Her name is Mrs. Gable. She has excellent references." Chloe pushed her peas with her fork. "Father?" "Yes, Chloe." Could Miss Anna take us for our walk sometimes?" Robert put his fork down. It made a quiet click on the plate. "Miss Anna is a cleaning woman. Her job is to clean. A nanny's job is to care for children. They are not the same. We do not mix the jobs." "But she is nice," Leo said, his voice gaining a little strength. "She talked to us about colors." "It is not her place to talk to you," Robert said, his tone final. "She is staff. You are the children of the house. There is an order to things. You will be polite to her, but you will not seek her out. Is that understood?" The children looked at their plates. "Yes, Father," they said together. But in the dark of their connected doorways later, they whispered. "He does not see her," Chloe said. "He does not look," Leo answered. They both thought of the warm brown eyes. They both thought of the humming tune that felt like a lullaby. They both held on to the new, fragile hope that lived in the quiet space between their two beds. It was a secret, and for the first time in their perfect, quiet lives, they had a secret together. The new nanny, Mrs. Gable, lasted 2 days. She left after Leo asked her why she did not hum any songs. The house felt empty again. But the humming from the cleaning woman, Miss Anna, was still there. It became a map for Chloe and Leo. They knew where she was by the soft sound. They would find reasons to walk past the room she cleaned. Sometimes she would look up and give them that small, almost smile. It was their secret. One Tuesday morning, everything changed. Robert Sterling stood in the center of the grand living room. His face was like stone. He had rung the main bell, the one that called all the staff. The housekeeper, the cook, 2 groundskeepers, Carl and Miss Anna, stood in a nervous line. Chloe and Leo stood beside their father, dressed in matching burgundy suits. "There has been a failure of standards," Robert began, his voice cutting the quiet. "A small failure, but a crack in the foundation." Miss Anna, the woman with the dark bun, lifted her head. Her hands, still in yellow gloves, were clasped tightly in front of her apron. "Step forward," Robert said. She did. "Your work has been unsatisfactory." He walked slowly around her, as if inspecting a statue. "Yesterday I observed a single water spot on the glass of the west patio door, a perfect streak marred by laziness." Miss Anna's eyes were on the floor. "I will redo it, sir." "Today," he continued, ignoring her, "I found a layer of dust on the base of the Roman sculpture in the library. Not on the top, on the base. This tells me you are only cleaning what the eye sees first. You are not thorough." "I am sorry. I will pay more attention," she whispered. "But will you?" Robert stopped in front of her. "I do not think so. I think you are distracted. I have seen you looking out the windows. I have heard you humming. This is not a home for humming. This is a home for perfection. Your work is not perfect. Therefore, you are fired. You will leave the property now." The air in the room got very still. The other staff looked at their feet. Chloe's heart beat like a tiny bird in her chest. Leo's hands bunched into fists at his sides. Miss Anna nodded slowly. She pulled off the yellow gloves. Her hands were trembling. She did not look up. She turned to go. A small, desperate sound escaped Leo's throat. It was not a word. It was a cry. Robert's sharp gaze turned to his son. "Silence, Leo." But Leo was not looking at his father. He was looking at Miss Anna's back as she walked away. The secret feeling exploded. It was too big to hold inside. He broke from his father's side. His small shoes slapped on the marble floor. "No!" he shouted. At the same moment, Chloe moved. She did not think. She just ran. She ran after her brother. Miss Anna heard them and turned. Her eyes were wide and wet with tears. Leo reached her first, throwing his arms around her legs, holding on as if he were falling. Chloe crashed into her a second later, burying her face in the woman's simple apron. "You can't go," Leo sobbed, his voice loud and clear in the silent room. "You can't fire her." Robert stood frozen, his mouth slightly open. "Chloe, Leo, release her at once. Come here." Chloe looked up at Miss Anna's face. She saw the love there, plain as day. It was the look from her secret feeling. It was real. She turned her head towards her father, her small voice strong. "She is not the nanny." Leo tightened his grip. He looked right at his father, his blue eyes blazing with a truth he just now fully understood. "She is our mommy." The words hung in the air. The cook gasped. One of the groundskeepers put a hand over his mouth. Robert Sterling did not move. He did not breathe. The cruel set of his mouth vanished. All the color drained from his face. He stared at the woman holding his children. He saw past the plain clothes, past the tight bun. He saw the curve of her cheek, the shape of her eyes he had not seen in over 5 years. The name left his lips in a shocked whisper. "Anna?" The woman, Anna, looked back at him. All the pretending was gone. Her eyes held years of sadness and a fierce new strength. She slowly knelt on the hard floor, the children clinging to her. She wrapped her arms around them, pulling them into her chest. She buried her face in their clean, blonde curls. "My babies," she cried, her voice breaking. "My sweet, sweet babies." And Robert Sterling, the richest man in Beverly Hills, could only stand and watch, the world he had built with cold perfection shattering into 1,000 pieces at his feet. For a long moment, the only sound in the grand room was Anna's soft crying and the children's muffled sobs. Robert stared, his mind racing through the years, tumbling back. He saw her then, not the cleaning woman, Anna Silva, at a charity event in New York. She was holding a clipboard, directing guests. She had smiled at him, a real smile that reached her eyes. He had never seen a smile so warm. "Robert?" Her voice, the same but younger, filled his memory. "Do you think we could have a garden? A real one with messy flowers? For the children?" His own voice, cold and dismissive, answered in his head. "The landscapers have a plan, symmetrical, clean. Flowers are not practical, Anna. They attract bees." He saw her face fall. He saw it over and over. After Chloe and Leo were born, he had handed her a printed schedule for the babies, feeding, sleeping, playing, all in perfect blocks of time. "Robert, they are babies, not little executives," she had said, trying to laugh. "This is how we build structure," he had replied. "This is how we do it correctly." The word correctly had become a wall between them. The final fight played in his mind like a terrible movie. Anna's mother in Brazil was very sick. Anna wanted to bring her to live with them, to help. "She needs us, Robert. We have the room. She could help with the children. They should know their grandmother." Robert had been looking over a property contract. He did not look up. "Out of the question. It would disrupt everything. Your priority is here. Building this family asterisk correctly asterisk. A sick woman would be a distraction from that." He heard her sharp intake of breath. When he finally looked, her face was white with a pain he did not understand. "A distraction?" she had whispered. "My mother is a person, not a distraction. And this?" She waved a hand around the cold, perfect mansion. "This is not a family. It is a showroom, and I am not a performer anymore." She had left the room. The next morning she was gone. A note said only, "You can build it correctly without me." He was furious. His pride was a burning coal in his chest. Let her go, he thought. If she can abandon her children so easily, she does not deserve them. He told everyone she chose to leave. He never spoke her name again. He buried Anna Silva in the past. Now, the past was alive, kneeling on his marble floor. "You," he finally choked out. The word was raw. "You left. You abandoned them." Anna gently loosened the children's grip. She stood up, holding their hands. Her tear-streaked face was hard. "You told me I was a distraction. You told me my love, my family was not correct." She said the word like it was a bad taste. "I believed you. I thought they were better off with one parent who knew the correct way, rather than 2 parents at war. It was the worst mistake of my life." Leo hugged her arm tightly. "You didn't abandon us," he said, his voice fierce for such a small boy. "I have been close by for a long time," Anna said, her eyes never leaving Robert's. "Working, saving money. I wanted to see them. I needed to know if they were happy. Her voice broke. They were so quiet, so sad. I took the cleaning job to be near them. I was going to tell them slowly. But you, she looked at Robert with a mix of old pain and new anger. You could not stop yourself from firing the help. The staff was still as statues, watching this private earthquake. Robert's shock was melting, replaced by a hot rush of anger and fear. This was an invasion. This was chaos. So this is a trick? A lie? You sneak into my home and poison my children against me. There is no trick. Anna's voice rose, strong and clear. I am their mother. That is the truth. You have been lying to them for years, telling them I did not want them. That was your lie, Robert. Chloe flinched, looking up at her father. Is that true, father? Was it a lie? Robert looked at his daughter's confused, hurt face. He looked at his son clinging to a woman he thought was a stranger. He saw his perfect world crumbling, and all he could feel was the need to stop it, to control it again. The anger won. Get out, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Get out, Robert said again, louder. The words bounced off the high ceiling. You do not belong here. You gave up any right to be here when you walked away. You are a stranger to these children. No! Leo shouted, tears streaming down his face. He stepped in front of Anna, his small arms spread wide. She's not a stranger. She's our mom. You're lying. Robert's control snapped. He took a sharp step forward. Carl, remove her from the premises, now! The head of security, Carl, shifted his weight. He looked from his boss's furious face to the crying children clinging to the cleaning woman. He did not move. Carl! Robert roared. The sound was so loud, so angry, that Leo jumped. He stumbled backward, his elbow hitting a small, delicate table. On it sat a tall crystal vase, a clear, fragile thing from France. The vase wobbled. It tipped. It seemed to fall in slow motion before it hit the marble floor with a terrible, crashing sound. Glass exploded everywhere, scattering like icy rain. Everyone froze. Then, Anna cried out. She looked down at her hand. A sharp, glistening piece of glass was stuck in the side of her palm. A thick line of red blood ran down her wrist and dripped onto the white marble, each drop a bright, shocking red. Robert's anger vanished. The sight of the blood, the real physical mess of it, stunned him into silence. His mouth hung open. The chaos was no longer just words. It was here, on his perfect floor. Anna did not scream. She looked at the blood, then at Robert's horrified face. Something in her changed. The sadness in her eyes hardened into something solid. She carefully pulled the sliver of glass from her hand. She did not even flinch. She looked past Robert. She looked at Carl. Her voice was calm, clear, and stronger than it had ever been in that house. Carl, please call the police. Robert blinked. What? Anna stood very straight, clutching her bleeding hand with the other. Call them. Tell them to come to the Sterling residence. Tell them there is a dispute about ownership. Tell them I am being threatened with removal from my own home. This is not your home, Robert spat, but his voice lacked its earlier force. Yes, it is, Anna said. And now she looked directly at him. My name is Anna Sterling. We were never divorced, Robert. You were too proud to file the papers. My name is still on the deed to this house. I checked. I have a copy. Robert felt the floor tilt under his feet. He remembered. He had thrown the divorce papers she sent years ago in the fire. He never signed them. He wanted to erase her, not legally end it. It was a mistake. A huge, stupid mistake. These are my children, Anna continued, her voice ringing in the quiet. I am their mother. I am not leaving, so call the police. Let them come. Let us start this fight right now, right here. She turned back to Carl. Please, Carl, make the call. Carl looked at Robert, waiting for an order, for a denial. Robert said nothing. He was trapped, his own pride and legal carelessness a cage around him. After a moment, Carl gave a slow nod. He pulled his phone from his pocket and walked into the hallway. Leo stared at the blood on his mother's hand. His small face was pale. You're hurt. Anna knelt down, ignoring the glass and the blood. She smiled at him, a real warm smile full of love. It's just a little cut, my love. It's okay. She looked at Chloe, who was trembling. It's going to be okay now. Robert watched them. The woman he had fired, now comforting his children in a pool of broken crystal and blood. He heard Carl's low voice in the hall talking to the police. He knew what came next: lawyers, courts, a public battle, everything he hated, everything he could not control. The fight for his perfect life had just begun, and he had already lost the first, most important part. She was not leaving. The police officers were polite but firm. They took statements. They saw the cut on Anna's hand, now bandaged. They saw the broken glass. They listened to Robert claim Anna was an intruder. They listened to Anna state she was Anna Sterling, co-owner of the house. "This is a civil matter, Mr. Sterling," one officer said. "A family court matter. We can't remove her if she has a legal claim. You'll need to see a judge." They left. The mansion felt different. The silence was no longer peaceful. It was a heavy, waiting silence. Robert retreated to his office. He did not come out for the rest of the day. Anna stayed in a small guest room on the opposite side of the house. Chloe and Leo were told to stay in their wing, but the rules were already beginning to crack. The next morning, a man in a very expensive suit arrived. His name was Martin Reese. He was Robert's lawyer. They sat in the office with the door closed. "She has a claim, Robert," Martin said, his voice crisp. "A strong one. No divorce, her name on the deed. She can stay. For now." "I want her out," Robert said, staring out the window. "I want full custody of the children. I want her gone." "Then we fight," Martin said. "We use what we have." She left Robert. She walked away from her infants for over 5 years. A judge will not like that. We paint a picture: an unstable woman, a woman who abandons her family, a woman who sneaks back in as a maid. It's strange, it's manipulative. We use that. Robert nodded slowly. The plan was clear. It was a battle plan. Do it. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Anna was making toast. She wore simple jeans and a blue shirt. Her hair was down, a dark wave over her shoulders. Chloe and Leo sat at the breakfast table, still in their pajamas. "What would you like on your toast?" Anna asked. "Butter? Jam?" "We have a menu," Chloe said quietly. "It's just dried toast and fruit on Thursdays." Anna turned and looked at her daughter. She smiled. "Today is a new day. We can have jam if you want. Strawberry." Leo's eyes grew wide. "Really? Really?" They ate toast with strawberry jam. It was messy. Leo got a big red smear on his chin. Chloe giggled. It was a sound Anna had not heard before. It was the best sound in the world. After breakfast, the housekeeper brought 2 small, perfect suits to the kitchen, one burgundy, one green. "Mr. Sterling asked for the children to be dressed for their tutor, miss." "Anna," the housekeeper said gently. Anna looked at the stiff, formal clothes. She looked at her children's hopeful, jam-smeared faces. She took a deep breath. "No," Anna said. "Not today. Can you find some play clothes, please? Some t-shirts and shorts?" The housekeeper looked shocked, but she nodded and left. Robert found them an hour later in the backyard. Chloe and Leo were wearing bright blue t-shirts and denim shorts. They were on the grass, showing Anna how they could do somersaults. Leo's was more of a sideways roll. They were laughing. Robert's whole body went stiff. "What is this?" he demanded. "Why are they not dressed?" Anna stood up. She faced him. "They are dressed. They are dressed to play. They have a schedule. They have lessons." "They are children," Anna said, her voice calm but firm. "They need to play. They need to get messy." Leo ran over, his face flushed with happiness. "Look, father, I did a somersault. Almost." Robert looked at his son's dirty knees and grass-stained shirt. He saw the pure joy on his face. For a second, he saw the little boy, not the perfect doll. It confused him. It made him angry. "Go inside and change," Robert ordered. "Now." Leo's smile vanished. He looked at his mother. Anna shook her head slightly. Leo looked back at his father. His small chin trembled, but he did not move. "No," Leo whispered. Robert's eyes widened. "What did you say?" "No," Leo said again, a little louder. "I don't want to. I want to stay here with Mommy." The word Mommy was a weapon. It hit Robert in the chest. He looked from Leo's defiant face to Chloe, who was now standing silently beside Anna, holding her hand. They were choosing sides. The foundation was not just cracked, it was breaking apart. He turned and walked back to the house without another word. The battle was no longer just in a lawyer's office. It was here, on the grass, in the clothes his children wore, and he was losing. The courtroom in Los Angeles was not a big room, but it felt very big to Chloe and Leo. The seats were hard. The air was cold. They sat between their father and their mother, who did not look at each other. But it felt very big to Chloe and Leo. The seats were hard. The air was cold. They sat between their father and their mother, who did not look at each other. A woman in a black robe sat up high. The judge, Robert's lawyer, Mr. Reese, stood up. He talked in a smooth, strong voice. "Your Honor, my client, Robert Sterling, has been the sole, devoted parent to these children for over 5 years. He has provided a stable, perfect home. Then, this woman reappears. She admits she abandoned her family. She admits she deceived her way into the home. This is not the action of a stable, loving mother. It is the action of a stranger with a plan. She is a disruption. She is confusing these children." Anna's lawyer, a younger woman named Miss Flores, stood next. "Your Honor, my client, Anna Sterling, left an emotionally cold and controlling situation. She made a mistake, yes, but her love never stopped. She worked for years to rebuild her life so she could be near her children. She took a job in that house to see them, to know them. The moment the children recognized her, they embraced her. They chose her. That is not confusion. That is a child's heart, knowing its mother." The judge wrote things down. Her face gave nothing away. Robert sat perfectly still, but his jaw was tight. "She worked 2 jobs. Sometimes she was late on the rent. She seemed tired, alone." Mr. Reese nodded as if this proved something bad. "So, a life of struggle, instability." In the big, quiet house that night, the rules were breaking. The children were supposed to be in bed. Instead, the door between their rooms was open wide. Anna sat on the floor in the hallway between them, her back against the wall. Leo crept out and sat next to her. "I didn't like that man," he whispered. "What man, my love?" Anna asked softly. "The man who talked about your apartment. He made it sound bad. But I think you were brave." Anna put her arm around him. She felt Chloe sit down on her other side. The 2 children leaned into her, their heads on her shoulders. "Tell us a story," Chloe whispered. "A story from when we were babies." Anna thought. "When you were both very small, you hated to be apart. If I put one in the crib, the other would cry. So I would hold you both, one in each arm, and walk around the room. And I would sing. You both would get very quiet and just watch my face." "What song?" Leo asked. Anna began to hum. It was the same soft tune she had hummed while cleaning. Leo let out a small sigh. "That's the song. I knew it." The next day in court, Miss Flores called a witness, an old friend of Anna's named Linda. "Robert Sterling cut Anna off from everyone," Linda said, her voice angry. "He criticized her clothes, her friends, how she held the babies. He wanted her to be a silent, pretty part of his perfect picture. She was so lonely. She wasn't allowed to be herself." Robert shook his head sharply. "Lies," he muttered under his breath. That night, Chloe brought Anna a piece of paper. It was a drawing. A big house with 3 stick figures inside. One was tall and colored all gray. 2 were small and yellow. Outside the house, a 4th stick figure with a dark smile stood in the sun. "This is you," Chloe said, pointing to the figure in the sun. "You were out here. We were in there with Father, but you were always here." She tapped the corner of the paper, where a small yellow heart was drawn in the sky. Anna held the drawing to her chest. She could not speak. The days became a pattern. Cold, hard words in the courtroom. Soft, whispered secrets in the dark hallway. The children were learning 2 worlds, the world of lawyers and accusations, and the world of their mother's arms and old songs. One evening, Leo took Anna's hand. "Come," he said. He led her quietly down the grand staircase to the kitchen. He went to a cabinet, moved a fancy ceramic canister, and showed her a small, hidden door in the wall. Inside were 3 chocolate chip cookies wrapped in a napkin. "The cook lets me have one sometimes," he whispered proudly. "I saved these for you." Anna took a cookie. It was a little stale. It was the best thing she had ever tasted. This was their life. These were their secrets. And no matter what was said in the cold courtroom, this was the truth she was fighting for. Chloe could not eat her breakfast. The oatmeal felt thick in her throat. Leo tapped his fingers on the table so fast it was a blur. "Today is the last day of statements," Anna said quietly, pouring more milk for Leo. "Then the judge will think about everything." I don't want to go back, Leo said, his lower lip trembling. Before Anna could answer, Robert walked into the kitchen. He was in a perfect charcoal gray suit. He looked at the children, then at Anna. His face was a cold mask. The car will be here in 15 minutes. Be ready. In the courtroom, the air felt heavier than before. Robert's lawyer, Mr. Reese, stood up. Your Honor, we rest our case. The picture is clear. Stability versus chaos. A father's constant care versus a mother's prolonged absence and deception. The judge nodded. Miss Flores, any final witnesses for the respondent? Anna's lawyer stood. Yes, Your Honor. We call one final witness, Arthur Lowell. A ripple went through the room. Robert turned his head sharply. Arthur, the old butler who had served the Sterling house for 20 years, walked slowly to the witness stand. He was a thin man with kind eyes. He did not look at Robert. Mr. Reese stood up confused. Your Honor, this witness is on our household payroll. He is not on our witness list. He is on ours, Miss Flores said firmly. Arthur was sworn in. Miss Flores approached him. Mr. Lowell, how long have you worked for the Sterling family? 22 years, Arthur said, his voice clear. You were there when Mrs. Sterling left? I was. You were there when Miss Anna Silva was hired as a cleaning woman? I was. Did you recognize her? Arthur was silent for a moment. He looked at Anna, then at the children. He finally looked at Robert. There was sadness in his eyes. I did. Almost from the first day. It was in the way she looked at the children, a look no regular staff member has. It was a mother's look. Robert's hands gripped the edge of the table in front of him. Why did you not say anything? Miss Flores asked. I wanted to see, Arthur said simply. I have watched those children grow up in that big quiet house. They were like careful little ghosts. They followed every rule. They never laughed. I have worked in that house for 22 years, and I never heard a child's laugh until Miss Anna came. He turned to face the judge directly. When she started, she hummed an old song. Master Leo, he would stop and listen in the hallway. A light came back into their eyes, a light I had not seen since they were babies in their mother's arms. They began to smile. They began to whisper together. They began to live. Robert's lawyer jumped up. Objection! This is emotional storytelling, not fact. Let him finish, the judge said quietly. Arthur took a breath. I kept her secret because I hoped Mr. Sterling would see it too. I hoped his heart would remember, but he only saw a cleaning woman. He only saw imperfections. He did not see the mother returning to her children. Arthur looked right at Robert now. You asked for perfect order, sir, but a house is not a home without a mother's love. I watched you try to build a perfect life, but you were building it without the most important piece. She is that piece. They have been waiting for her. The courtroom was completely silent. Robert stared at his butler, the man he trusted most in his home. He saw no anger there, only pity and a deep, weary truth. Miss Flores spoke softly. No further questions. The judge called for a short recess. Robert did not move from his seat. He watched Arthur walk away from the stand, offering a small, apologetic nod to Anna as he passed. He watched his children cling to their mother's hands, their faces pale but sure. The final wall around Robert's heart, the one built of pride and control, cracked open. For the first time, he was completely alone. The judge did not give a decision that day. She said she needed time to think. The family rode back to the mansion in silence. Robert sat in the front seat. Anna and the children sat in the back. At home, Robert went straight to his office. He closed the door. He did not come out for dinner. He sat in the dark. Arthur's words played in his head. Asterisk, careful little ghosts. He saw Chloe counting the tiles. He saw Leo tapping his secret pattern. He saw their faces when he fired a nanny, not sad, just still, waiting for the next one. He thought of the drawing Chloe made, the gray stick figure inside the big house. Was that him? A gray man in a big empty space. He stood up and walked out of his office. He went upstairs to the children's wing. Their bedroom doors were closed. He could hear a soft voice, Anna's voice. She was singing the lullaby, the one she hummed while cleaning. He pressed his ear to Leo's door. And the little bird found its nest, Anna sang quietly, because the nest was made of love, not just twigs. Is that a real song? Leo's sleepy voice asked. "It is now," Anna whispered. Robert walked away. His feet felt heavy. He went to the grand living room. He looked at the spot on the marble floor where the vase had broken. He could almost see the blood. The next morning, the children came down for breakfast. They wore play clothes again, t-shirts and shorts. They did not look at him. They sat at the table and waited for Anna. "Chloe, Leo," Robert said. They looked up. Their eyes were careful, guarded, not like the eyes of children looking at their father. They looked at him like he was the judge. Would you like pancakes today?" The words felt strange in his mouth. Chloe and Leo glanced at each other. "We have a schedule," Chloe said softly. "It's dry toast and fruit on Fridays." "The schedule can change," Robert said. His voice was rough. Anna walked into the room then. She stopped when she saw them all at the table. She had a bowl of fruit in her hands. "The children would like pancakes," Robert said, looking at her. "If that is okay." Anna studied his face. She nodded slowly. "I can make pancakes." After breakfast, Robert did not go to his office. He stood in the doorway to the backyard, watching. Anna was on the grass, showing Chloe how to do a cartwheel. Leo was trying to chase a butterfly. Leo fell down and started to cry. It was a loud, real cry. Robert saw Anna kneel beside him. She did not tell him to be quiet. She did not call for a doctor. She brushed the dirt off his knee and kissed it. "All better," she said. Leo's cries turned into hiccups. Then he hugged her neck. Robert turned away. He felt a pain in his own chest, sharp and real. He went to find Anna later. She was in the kitchen, putting dishes away. "Anna," he said. She turned, her face calm but wary. "We need to talk," he said. "Alone." They went to his office. He did not sit behind his big desk. He stood by the window. "Arthur was right," he said finally. "I was building a perfect life, but I was using the wrong materials." Anna waited. "I thought love was about control, about making everything right. I thought if I could make the outside perfect, the inside would be perfect too." He looked at her. "I was wrong. I made them quiet. I made them afraid. I made you leave." Anna's eyes filled with tears, but she did not look away. "The lawsuit," Robert said, the words tasting like ash. "I am dropping it. The fight is over. You can stay. You should stay. This is your home. They are your children." He took a deep, shaky breath. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. "I am sorry, Anna, for everything." There was a long silence. Anna wiped a tear from her cheek. She did not say she forgave him. That would take time, but she gave a single, slow nod. "The judge hasn't ruled," she said. "I will tell my lawyer to withdraw the case before she can," he said. "It is my choice to stop." He had finally made a choice that was not about winning. It was about ending the war. For the first time in years, he felt something other than cold control. He felt broken and sad and terribly, terribly sorry. But underneath that, he felt a small, faint hope. The lawyers left. The papers were signed. The big White House in Beverly Hills was quiet again. But the quiet was different now. It was not the quiet of rules. It was the quiet of people trying to learn how to breathe in the same room. 3 days after Robert dropped the lawsuit, Leo came to him in the living room. Robert was reading a report, but he put it down. "Father," Leo said, his hands behind his back, "can we go to the park, a real park, with other kids?" Robert opened up his mouth to say no. Parks were dirty. They were not on the schedule, but he stopped himself. He saw the hope in his son's eyes. "Which park?" "The one with the big blue slide." Chloe saw it from the car. Robert found himself nodding. "Okay, we can go," he told Anna. She looked surprised, then worried. "Are you sure? It's very public." "It is what they asked for," Robert said. He paused. "You should come too." They went that afternoon. It was a sunny day. The park was full of shouting children and parents chatting on benches. Chloe and Leo stood at the edge of the grass, staring. They had never been in a place with so much noise and movement. "Go on," Anna said softly, giving them a little push. They ran. Leo went straight for the sandbox. Chloe climbed the ladder to the big blue slide. She sat at the top for a full minute, just watching the other children. Then she slid down. A smile broke over her face, wide and free. Robert stood stiffly by a bench. A little boy ran past him, chasing a ball, and almost bumped into his leg. "Sorry, mister," the boy yelled, not stopping. Robert did not know what to do. He felt out of place. He looked at Anna. She was watching the children, a soft smile on her face. She looked like she belonged here. After an hour, Leo ran over, his face red and sweaty. "Father, I made a friend. His name is Jake. He has a dinosaur shirt." Robert looked at his son's dirty hands and messy hair. He saw pure joy. "That is very good, Leo." On the way home, both children fell asleep in the backseat of the car. Their heads were leaning toward each other. That night, there was no formal dinner in the dining room. Anna made spaghetti. They ate in the kitchen. Leo got red sauce on his shirt. No one said anything about it. When it was time for bed, Robert walked upstairs with them. He stopped at their doors. For years he had said, "Good night, follow the schedule." Now he did not know what to say. Chloe looked up at him. "Thank you for the park, Father." "You are welcome, Chloe." Leo, already half asleep, mumbled, "Night, Dad." Robert stood there long after they closed their doors. The word Dad echoed in his head. It was different from Father. It felt warmer. He found Anna in the living room folding a blanket. "They called me Dad," he said. Anna stopped folding. She looked at him. "They want to love you, Robert. They just need to learn how, and they need you to let them." He nodded slowly. "What do I do?" "You be there," she said simply. "You put down the report and you listen. You get sauce on your shirt and you don't mind. You learn." The next Saturday morning, Robert came downstairs in jeans and a plain white shirt. The children stared. They had never seen him in jeans. "I thought we could have pancakes again," he said. "And then, perhaps we could watch a movie. Together, in the living room." "What movie?" Leo asked, suspicious but curious. "You may choose," Robert said, "as long as it is not too loud." It was a small rule, but it was a start. They chose an animated movie about a talking dog. They all sat on the big sofa. Anna sat on one end with Chloe tucked under her arm. Leo sat in the middle. After a little while, Robert felt a small weight lean against his side. It was Leo, his eyes fixed on the screen. Robert did not move. He let his son lean against him. He looked across at Anna. She gave him a small, real smile. It was not perfect. They were not a perfect family. There were years of hurt to heal. There were hard conversations to come. But in that moment, in the glow of the television, they were all in the same room. They were all together. And for the first time, it was not a show for anyone else. It was just them, starting the long, slow walk toward becoming a real family.